It can be easy and painful to compare your faith to someone else's, but Jesus never asked you to follow them. Hey, I'm Dylan, and you're listening to Unlocked, your daily key to unlocking God's Word in your life. You ever look around and feel like everyone else has the whole following God thing figured out? I mean, they pray every day, read the Bible every day, they have perfect behavior, and you feel like you're just barely hanging on? Well, yeah, you're not alone. But following Jesus was never meant to be a comparison game. In John 21, when Peter started questioning Jesus' plan for another disciple, Jesus basically said, "Don't worry about him, you follow me." Now that's what today's story is all about. It's called Between You and God by Carson D. Jacobs. Will I go to hell for how I am? This question invaded my mind on too many occasions for me to count, especially after observing other people's Christian walks. Usually, they appeared to be extremely holy people who had their righteous lives intact. Nothing fazed them, they committed no wrongdoings, at least not in public, and they referred to their prayer lives often. Reading the Bible and speaking to God through prayer seemed like second nature to them. It didn't for me. I struggled for years to pray and read my Bible daily, but it wasn't that I lived my life separately from what I heard on Sundays or that I didn't even think about God throughout the week. I just had a difficult time setting up good habits. During that time, I kept wondering about God's tolerance of my lackluster performance, especially, I thought, in comparison to my clearly better suited fellow humans. They seemed much holier than I was. Cue teenage me reading John 21. It's uncoincidentally located right after Jesus reinstates Peter. Peter had denied Jesus 3 times before Jesus' death on the cross. But now, in this passage, Jesus asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And each time, when Peter says yes, Jesus responds, "Feed my lambs, shepherd my sheep, feed my sheep." This echoes the 3 times Peter denied him, showing that Jesus is reinstating Peter as a disciple. Jesus goes on to tell Peter the kind of death he will die to glorify God, and then he says to Peter, "Follow me." But Peter notices another disciple, John, is following them. Peter asks Jesus, "What about him?" That's when Jesus said one of the most liberating things I've ever heard. "What's it to you?" The last thing Jesus wants us to do is selfishly worry about others' relationships with him. That's not our concern. The truth is, we all fall short of God's holiness, but Jesus has given each of us grace, and that is the grace we are to be concerned with. You are free to focus on your relationship with him, not the apparent relationships of others with him. So let's talk about this a little more. In what ways might you be focusing on others' relationships with Jesus instead of your own? How do you think you can develop healthy Bible reading and prayer habits? Don't worry about doing it just like someone else. Find out what works for you. For example, how do you usually prefer to talk on the phone? Pacing? Sitting down? Well, figure out which way is most comfortable for you and try mimicking that while praying. Now, as you and I can read in John 21:22, "If I want him to remain until I come," Jesus answered, "what is that to you? As for you, follow me." I'd encourage you to dig a little bit deeper and read Luke 22 verses 54 to 62, John 21 verses 15 to 25, and Romans 3:23 and 24 to keep God's word alive in your life. Unlocked is a resource from Keys for Kids Ministries. And if you're interested in establishing some of those Bible reading habits, then join the Unlocked Reading Challenge for this summer. You have a chance to win prizes in July and August, not to mention the grand prize for the summer reading program. You can find out all the details when you go to unlocked.org/summer. Come back for tomorrow's devotion with Natalie. Do you feel like your faith and your sin are fighting inside you? Then the next 2 days of Devos are for you. But until then, I'm Dylan, encouraging you to live life unlocked, opening the door to God in your life.